happening to you? Take the headset off. It takes forever. I was starving. I haven't had anything since 6 in the morning. And then, boom, I thought I'd sneak in a banana. Bad move.
Here he is, a rare Wednesday appearance on Severson and Price. One half of the team, Donnie and Dolly, weekdays on Czech Television, Canucks insider, Mr. Rick Dhaliwal.
Boy, you better have a damn good excuse for moving me from Friday to Wednesday. I get a text last night from Sekeres. Can you move to Wednesday tomorrow? Like, you know what? You know what? You better be bringing in Al Pacino or Robert De Niro Friday. I'll tell you that much.
I said the exact same thing, Rick. I was against it. I said, no, it's Rick Dhaliwal. I can't move him off Friday.
You better have Lionel Messi lined up on Friday.
We have Ronaldo.
It's
Cristiano Ronaldo, not Messi.
It's just Gregor. He couldn't go today or tomorrow, actually. So we just
you're pushing me to the back of the bus because of Drager?
No,
unfreaking believable.
Pushing you to the Wednesday.
I know Drager's the big shot. He's the big national guy. I get it. Drager's he's the creme de la creme. But you know what? Pushing me in like this, unbelievable. Not good.
If we're doing this, then let me get at you for a second. How in the hell is your show going to talk about Damon Severson being a realistic possibility for the Canucks in free agency? He is going to be the highest paid free agent this summer. The Canucks have no cap space, and somehow you're talking about him as interesting the Canucks? Like, in what freaking world would they be able to bid on and get Severson's name on a contract, Dhaliwal?
Okay, first of all, take some aspirin, some Valium, some calm down. Mount St. Sekeres. Two things. First of all, the story was on the weekend that the Devils are thinking about trading his negotiation rights. The Canucks and the Devils have talked numerous times over the past year. Remember, Garland's name came up. The way you could do it and have a conversation with the Devils is if you moved one of your high-price wingers for the negotiation rights to Severson. No one is saying it's going to happen, Matt, but the Vancouver Canucks right now have to be thinking about everything under the sun to clear cap space and get their targets. I think we all know on July 1st or via trade, they'd like a third line center and another defenseman. But they got to do what the LA Kings did yesterday. They got to think outside the box. They got to get creative. And I think the Kings showed us the cost to clearing cap space, and the Canucks aren't going to like it. It's going to be really tough for Vancouver. The Canucks are going to have to get creative like the Kings because they got no help on the weekend when Gary Bettman said the cap's only going up by $1 million.
You're talking about like a rights trade deal maybe for a guy like Messer or Byers, maybe something like that.
Garland, Messer, Byers, OEL, all these guys, they're trying, but they're not being. What did I say? Garland.
You said Garland, Messer, Byers.
Oh boy, Garland,
Besser,
Myers, Oriel.
OEL.
Listen to me. You taking shots already, Price? You took last week off. I had so much fun with Patterson. I was like, can we make this a long-term thing? You come in with your Harvard grad bullshit.
Now
you're taking shots at me. Just listen to me. I'm trying to get to a point. You cut me off.
Okay,
listen.
The fact he can swear.
The Kings had to move a good right shot defenseman prospect. They had to move a second-round pick, and they had to retain on Ivan Provorov 30%. Now, all that to move salary off the books. That's a massive reminder to all of us in Vancouver, the cost of creating cap space. And now they turn around, they make the cap space, and they sign their UFA defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, Dan Milstein client, $5.7 million. And after the season, Drew Doughty was working Gavrikov really hard to re-sign in LA. They got it done. Give them all the credit in the world. So they got their guy, but they got a third team involved. They got really, really creative. Patrick Alvin's got to do the same. They're out there trying. I said this to you last week, Matt, if you don't think the Canucks are trying to do what the Kings did, you're out to lunch. They are. They're working the phones feverishly, but it's hard when you don't have a ton of high-end top prospects, a ton of draft picks to play with, draft capital, as they say, and you're not willing to pick up a ton of money. So it's tough moving contracts, guys. Every summer it's the same thing in Vancouver. They've got to get to a point somewhere in the near future where they no longer waste so much time and energy trying to get rid of bad deals, and that day will come.
Ricky. Preach. Attaboy. I knew we would find consensus in this
But guys,
interview. And frankly, it's not the worst price. They cleared $5.5 million, guys. Like, that's not the worst.
And Rick, they have these pieces. Like, they have a second round pick and a Klomovic or a Ratu to dole out. I mean, that's effectively the kind of price that was paid by LA. Canucks can pay that price.
That hold it a second. The defenseman that went from LA to Philly, he's 21. He's a right shot D. A lot of teams are after him all year long, and so I don't think the Canucks have that type of guy. I think their top prospect right now, for honestly, the way Seelov's did at the Worlds, I think it's got to be him. And the Canucks aren't coughing him up, but I don't think they have the top end prospects, Blake. Let me put it that way.
Well, Rick, I would agree they don't have a right shot defense prospect of Granz's ability or profile, but I would suggest they have prospects who are close to Grant's in how the league views them. They don't have a second round pick for a couple of years, so they would be further trading out. But look, the Canucks could make deals like this. Now the question becomes, Ricky, and this could be tough outside of Arizona, Chicago, Anaheim, maybe San Jose. You got to find a trade partner, right? Like, you got to find a partner who's willing to take on bad or at least, less than favorable money over the next couple of years. And
I'll
that
tell you,
could be difficult.
No one's out there saying, "Hey, we're going to help you, Vancouver Canucks." No way. There's nobody out there saying we're going to help you. There's no one out there saying, "Hey, let's help the Canucks get out of their cap hell." There's no help. I mean, there's 31 other GMs that are doing what's best for their team, not the Vancouver Canucks. There's a real possibility, guys. They might go into July 1 with no money to play with. And when's the last time that happened in this city? And I got to tell you something else. They can only get active on July 1st if they create some cap space. I'm going to go back to Vladislav Gavrikov, Dan Milstein's client. I think that if capital letters, if he would have hit free agency, I think the Canucks would have had interest if they had cap space. Don't you find it interesting, the Milstein last two contracts for his guys, 2 years?
Yeah.
What Milstein is doing is smart. He's saying, I'm going to bet on my player. Right now, the increase in the cap is driving agents and GMs nuts. It's a flat cap. It's driving everyone nuts. So what Milstein's saying is, I'll only do 2 years. I know the cap's going to be high in that third year. He's betting on his players. Mm-hmm. He's betting on his players to be productive for the next 2 years. And in that third year, cap's going to go up significantly, and he can enter the UFA market when there's a whole lot more money to play with. Very smart work on behalf of Dan Milstein, in my eyes.
And the Canucks working from a deficit area with regards to cap space, and the two guys that were linked to or were said to be of interest to the Canucks are having tremendous ends to their season and into the playoffs in Gavrikov and in Barbeshev. I mean, both guys have priced themselves out of the Canucks. There's no chance the Canucks are going to get room for either of them.
100%. I said that. I said that to Milstein a few days ago. I said, you know what, Ivan Barbeshev, the way he's going right now, oh my goodness, if he hits July 1st. I would have liked the Canucks to go after him, but he's going to get paid, and he's pricing himself in a new, higher, upper end neighborhood like the one Price lives in. He's not. There's no way. There's no way the Canucks get their hands on Barbeshev at the rate he's going. No way.
These guys that get playoff shine, right? Because that's what everybody's chasing. All guys that can perform in the playoffs. The minute you're seen to have performed in the playoffs, as Barbeshev has. You jump into the next echelon.
Do you know that for 5-on-5 points in the playoffs, Barbeshev, I think, is second or third in the playoffs. He's just been that. Someone said the trade deadline. He's been the best acquisition at this year's trade deadline. It's been Barbeshev. He's been great. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think with Milstein's history with the Canucks in the past, it's like Mikheyev though. I will tell you a story. Blake, everyone didn't think. I remember saying a week before July 1st to Milstein last year, I don't think the Canucks have the money for Mikheyev, and they ended up doing it. So you never know. We got lots of time to July 1st. We got lots of time to the draft. I still fully expect the Canucks to get something done. I think Matt asked me last week a big trade. It's possible. I mean, they know. To be active, they got to get going here, and they got to clear some cap space. Absolutely.
Are you hearing anything on Carter Hart? Because his name has been rumored, and then saw that report that the Kings were trying at UC Saros last year in Nashville. Does this put the Kings on the trade market for a goalie? And what are you hearing on Carter Hart, if at all, in Philly?
Not too much. Carter Hart's agent is not a buddy of mine, so I wouldn't have inside on that. But I do have information on another goalie. Mike DiPietro, I just found out, is going to be qualified by the Boston Bruins, so he's going to keep going. DiPietro, he's a case where legit you could have wondered if the Bruins were going to bring him back or not, because I think he spent the most of this year in the East Coast Hockey League, right?
He did, yeah.
He did, and so I think they're going to keep him, qualify him, and keep him going. He had some tough luck in Vancouver. I feel for him. He's a really good kid off the ice. The COVID stuff, and he spent a good chunk of the COVID year in Vancouver, never got any development other than practice time on the side. But I think he's going to keep going with the Boston Bruins. But it's Carter Hart. All the reports say, they're looking to move him, but there's nothing imminent. Nothing imminent at all.
Marvelous stuff, Ricky. Thanks for pinch hitting here on a Wednesday. I hope we didn't offend you too badly, and we will catch up
for Drager.
From Friday.
I get it. He's a national guy, and I'm just a fucking small wheel in Vancouver. I get it, but to push me back, and then here's the beauty. Harris last night, 9:30 text. Can you do tomorrow? Like. I had to move heaven.
It's inconsiderate.
That's when I found out, Rick.
I would never have treated you like that.
That's when I found out Dreger was trying to move heaven and earth to fit us in today. And
Dreger's a big
finally
shot.
got back to me. He said, Matty, I beg you, can we go Friday instead? I said, yes, Dreger, we can go Friday. And then I went about moving you to Wednesday.
And Dhaliwal, I would have ended this interview like 3 minutes ago, and you would have been in your car driving home already,
Yeah.
I care about you.
There you go. Yeah. We care about your walks every afternoon with your missus around the cul-de-sac. Yeah. So you're free to go do that. Thank you for this, Rick, until a week from Friday, my friend.
Adios, amigos.